All right, I'm going to ask for everybody to kindly take their seats. Those that need to be seated, if you want to remain standing, please do so as we're about to start this program. Colleagues in the media, invited guests, I welcome you today to this press conference called by a network of civil society groups through an invitation extended to Mayor Ria Ledwaba to talk about the future of football in South Africa. So these civil society groups, who will explain themselves a little bit later on because I'm not their spokesperson, so they'll do that job, have called us here today to also demonstrate, intentionally so, their support for Ria Ledwaba as a nominated candidate for the SAFA presidency. My name is Faith Mangope, and I'll be taking you through this program this afternoon. What I'm going to kindly request of you is that you please hold your questions until later. We will allow for you to take all your questions, and hopefully we get to go through this program quite seamlessly. Now, we're also anticipating this morning to hear from Mayor Ria Ledwaba herself on her vision of how we take football forward in South Africa. And as we do so, and as we go through the program this morning, may I ask that we also take consistent reflection on just the kind of South Africa we want and the type of football we as a citizenship deserve. Now, I must point to you, as today is the what of May? Everybody gets to speak. What day is it today? Oh, you got to be a little bit louder if I'm going to be hosting you this morning. We're not depressed. We're quite cheerful people. What day is it today, ladies and gentlemen? It is indeed the 10th of May. Now, I must point to the significance of the 10th of May because the 10th of May is quite significant in our history because this is the day that the late Nelson Mandela was inaugurated as South Africa's first black president. If you didn't know, yes, you can actually tell. I quite aptly think that this deserves a mention given where we are this morning and given the significance of such a day. Now, as we're about to commence, I would ask that we start off the proceedings for this conference this morning with a prayer. And with that, I'm going to request Pastor Pindi Matebula just to come up and bless and open up this proceeding for us. Pastor, thank you so much.
Good morning. Let's pray. Father, we just want to thank you. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your presence in this place. Thy word declares you are God who knows the end from the beginning. You knew, O God, that this day on the 10th of May will be gathered in such a fashion. We therefore count ourselves blessed to be part of the history that is unfolding before our very eyes. Indeed, we are grateful for your mercies, even for the change that you are bringing. We believe, oh Father, that not only are we gathered here to hear Mama Ria as she's been nominated, oh God, but it is a matter of months, a matter of days, wherein we're going to celebrate the change that you are about to bring in our nation. This we prophesy and this we pray in the name of Jesus. And everybody said, amen and amen. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor Pindi, for that moving prayer. Now, the individual who we're anticipating, whose arrival we're anticipating this morning, and that is Ria Ledwaba. We've been informed that she is indeed on her way. But before we go there, I would like us just to reflect on a moment about the woman that we're speaking about this morning. Who is exactly Ria Ledwaba? We've heard about her. We've seen her from time to time, but if I had to actually go and take you through a journey of her life, what would we say about her? Well, you are privileged enough to get to find that out firsthand this afternoon and in this course of the morning. But I'm going to start off just to give you a little bit of a snippet of the individual that we're speaking about this morning. If you would allow me just to shed some light in terms of her journey through this course. Ria Ledwaba is a mother of three, one boy and two girls. She has broken barriers in a male-dominated industry, many male-dominated industries, especially football. She's currently the CEO of Gree Products SA, the only black woman importer of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, and the owner of Ifitlile Training Academy, training technicians in the refrigeration and air conditioners trade. She has been in football and in the football administration from 1988. She is SAFA's first female vice president. She is South Africa's Gallery of Legends chairperson. She was the first female to head the delegation in the AFCON qualifier match, which South Africa won against Nigeria in 2019, and for that we shall pray always. She facilitated the establishment of the first women national league in South Africa. Yes, you can clap for that. She is the founder of Ria Stars Football Club that played in the Premier Soccer League. She served on numerous committees and boards at PSL, SAFA, and CAF. She is also multi-award winner, to mention but a few. Excellence Award by Limpopo Sports, Arts and Culture, that was in 2019. Lifetime Achiever Award by Gauteng Sports, Arts and Recreation, that was in 2019. Devoted Citizens by Hope Restoration Ministries in 2019. And she continues to serve the country in the following leadership roles. Currently serving as CAF and FIFA Match Commissioner, serving as the Deputy Chair of COSAFA Women's Committee, currently serving as a member of EPG on Transformation, and also serving as Deputy Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it goes without saying that this morning we are gathered to witness a servant. With that, to give us a little bit of context as to why is it that they gathered us here this morning, allow me to call up from the coalition of civil society groups, Siyabulela Gentile. Siyabulela, please do join us onto the podium.
Thank you, Faith. Good morning, still morning. I almost said greetings to you and your listeners.
Not yet.
Thank you for having me. But thank you so much, Program Director, members of the media, our esteemed guests, panelists, members of different groupings and the House at large. I thank you. I wish to thank you so much for joining us this morning. And please do consider yourselves saluted. My name is indeed Siyabulela Gentile. I stand before you this morning representing a coalition of civil society organizations, not only as the president of the Not In My Name organization. And for the sake of clarity, by the way, quickly, we need to first define what civil society means. And it refers to the community of citizens which are linked together by common good or common interest and collective activity. So this can be NGOs, it can be charity organizations, professional associations, faith-based organizations, your churches, or foundations and charity groupings like that. So as a collective, we are particularly challenged by the documented realization in the South African Football Association Statutes preamble, which states that they need to defend the democratic gains and to transform South African football to be in line with democratic values underpinning the South African Constitution and to be world class. Ladies and gentlemen, as ordinary citizens, we are finally exhausted by the fruitless exercise of standing by the sidelines as mere spectators on issues concerning the future of the beautiful game in South Africa. We created this platform this morning to register our collective voice to the general public discourse on the future of South African football. The aim and objective of the South African Football Association, as documented in its statutes, states that it is to carry on the public benefit activity of administering, developing, coordinating, as well as promoting the game of football in which participants take part in accordance with the principles as laid out in the statutes of FIFA. Now, the administration can never be for the public benefit if it does not involve the public. and the participation of the public. And we are the public. And as the public, we are saying that we have noted with excitement the nomination of Ms. Ria Ledwaba as the next president of SAFA. And we are here this morning to say that we are fully behind her. In fact, this is why we have requested her to join us this morning to highlight her vision for the association and the general development of sports and football in particular in South Africa. And I know I echo the sentiments of many millions of South Africans when I say it is time for transformation. The millions of South Africans who use their last monies to fill up our stadiums every weekend, who pay television subscriptions in order to watch their favorite teams play, the millions of South Africans who have and continue to invest time, money, and resources into the development of young and upcoming footballers, millions of South Africans who fill up our streets in celebration when their team of their choice has won a match, who, regardless of many disappointments, continue to support and rally behind Bafana Bafana, who, regardless of little to no recognition from the association itself, continue to support and rally behind Banyana Banyana. These are the South Africans that I speak of, the South Africans who cry tears of despair in moments of loss and tears of joy in moments of victory, all in the name of the beautiful game. They are the public. We are the public. And in conclusion, I wish to make a clarion call to all forward-thinking and progressive South Africans who can hear the sound of my voice. South African football does not belong to individuals. South African football does not belong to individuals. It does not belong to the politically connected few. It belongs to all South Africans. It belongs to all of us as the public, all members of the Republic of South Africa. So let us all stand up and be active participants in the defense of democratic gains and be ground agents of transformation of the South African football. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Siyabulela Gentile there. We're going to continue with hearing from numerous individuals from our delegates who have decided to take it upon themselves to give context as to experience as well as to why is it that this day still stands as quite significant. These are messages of support from various individuals and then the various different sporting codes and fraternities as well as civil society organizations. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with such a light. And I'm going to ask right now the President of Netball South Africa, President Cecilia Molokwane, just to speak about exactly what does it take, though, to be president? Being president is not just a title, is it? It's not a glamorous code. It's not a glamorous undertaking. It's one that involves a lot of introspection, reflection, as well as wisdom. We speak about being president, but do we actually know what it takes to be president? Please, Ms. Molokwane, take the platform.
You? Good morning. Good morning. That's better. Watinta bafazi. Members of the media, dignitaries that are here, program director, president, it's something that people think is glamorous. It's all about fame. It's all about being out there. But I can tell you it's one of the hardest things to do, especially as a woman. And today, as I stand here to come and support one of our own, a woman, by the name of Mama Ria, as I passionately call her, I stand firm and bold to say it's time for change. I don't feel nice when the Minister of Sports in the country calls powerful federations in the country. And when he called the top 6, I'm the only woman who's representing the top 6 federations as a president. And to me, it's like, I don't feel proud and I don't feel happy being the only woman representing the sporting fraternity there. We need another woman. And as I always say, if you want the job done, send a woman. It won't be done. It shall be done. If we want change in football, and we want to see Bafana in the top 10 of the rankings of the world, take my word today, on the 10th of May, at this time I said, a woman will make that change. She's going to have challenges. Men are going to say, this is my space. This is where I want to be. Who are you as a woman to want to take up my space and to say, in our dominating sport, I can do better? But I tell you, as much as we gave birth to you, we know your weaknesses. We know where to touch you. We know what to do with you. So she's going to make that difference that you never thought she would make. Because of simply means she's a woman. And a woman, as we say in my language, no matter how tough it is, how hard it is, we don't give up. Because we know that as women, the passion that is within us drives us to want to do better and drives us to want to change the narratives. And I think with Mama Ria, the narratives of football will change. She has gone through all the ranks. What more do we want from her? Only to say to her, this is our time, and it's time to take up our space as women. It's time to showcase what we can do as women. And it's time, as women, to hold hands together and say we're doing this together, because the people that will also take her down is us as women. I want to challenge the women in SAFA right now who are leading in SAFA. I'm happy I'm not in SAFA, so I don't have to get any vote or do whatever. So I'll speak as it is, to say you are the first people we want to see voting for Mama Ria. The men should support you in what you're doing. We must take up the baton as women and go forward and say, as women in SAFA, friend, I'm going to challenge you as women in SAFA to say, you must really be behind one of our own. And we are not saying that men can do it, but we say it's time that we show that we can also do it. Give us the space, give us the time, and give us the opportunity to show that we as women can do it, because there's no powerful human being in this world like a woman. And the only person who can make change in this country, who can say to the country, Bafana is going to be up there. It's not going to be the likes of Dr. Kumalos that won the 1996 AFCON. We want to qualify at AFCON, but we want new minds. We want new people with new ideas to say, how can we change this? Because I know she cannot do it alone. Yeah. She has to do it with all of us. And when I'm saying all of us, media, people who are sitting here, we must all rally behind her. And one thing that is going to help Mama Ria in this thing, as she called us to support her, even when it's tough, she must call us to say it's here. And this is how tough it is, and how do we carry this baton forward? It's never easy. I am very challenged where I sit, especially now that, first time a women's sport is hosting a World Cup in this country. And we're going to show, not that we want to prove ourselves that we can do it, because we know we can. We are just going to show the country that when it's done by women, it's done better. And it's going to be better. And we want to say, Mama Ria, given this opportunity, she's going to do it better because of she's better. And as women, we rally behind her and we say, this is the best time, and this can never be any other time for SAFA to be led by a woman, and a woman of Mama Ria's caliber. As Cecilia Molokwani from Polokwane, the chosen one, as I call myself, and from her own home province, I want to say to Mama Ria, you can, you shall, and you will. And because of she's a praying warrior and a woman who believes in changing the narratives, nothing will stop this woman. Sia always says in this story, unstoppable. I think this woman is unstoppable. So let's support her. I thank you all.
Thank you very much for those words, Madam President. And we're going to continue within the same vein. You know, as you were speaking, you reflected on the how part. Because in often cases, it's about the stature, it's about the glory of it, but we don't necessarily speak about how. How do we run this administration? How do you run this administration with ethics, with integrity, with grace, when you happen to be a woman? So in other words, you lead, you just happen to be a woman in leadership. Within that vein, allow me to call upon Dambi Rabele, who's going to expound on that very same notion about the how element, the administration element. The chairperson and founder of the South African Women in Sport Foundation, also serving in Cricket South Africa's glorious Sport for Good. Mabravele, the podium is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Faith. And thank you for all of you who graced this event. And to show support for Ria. I think when she arrives here, she will feel welcomed because of we are here to support her. So South African Women in Sport Foundation support her nomination because of the fact that we believe in equality, we believe in diversity, and we believe in inclusion. But SAWAFs, it's about standards. We don't just support a woman because she's a woman to tick the boxes. We support women of substance, women of quality, of integrity, and women who can do it. Our support for Mama Ria is because of her track record. And I think Sia covered that very well. And also Faith covered it very well. Her capacity, her capabilities, because she is ready to take the position. Because she understands football very well. And she even understands problems within football and how to resolve them. Mama Ria brings a new and different thinking because as men and women, we have different patterns of thinking and approach on different issues. And I think football, it's lucky today to have a woman saying, I'm ready to assist at the right time. And I think football needs her now than before. SAFA had great potential to lead football in this continent, a very big potential. And unfortunately, we couldn't and we didn't take that opportunity. But with her leadership, I think we can achieve that. And I think most of us believe that. It is high time that we bring a woman to lead and to bring new ways of approaching challenges in football. And also, Ria, we wish you success in your campaign and elections. To SAFA regions and all members of SAFA who would have a voting power, we encourage you to vote for Ria and to vote for change. SAFA need new look, and Austria can bring that look. and SAFA needs new approach. Your launch today at this house of the legend of democracy, a man who preached democracy and understand equality, diversity, and inclusion, is the right place to launch your campaign. One thing that SAWAPs would expect from Austria, and that's the reason why I keep on repeating these 3 words, is for Austria to bring equality, to bring diversity in football, and to bring in inclusion. And with all of those things being achieved under her leadership, we would be happy as SAWAPs. And we will give her full support throughout. We represent women in sport. So we are talking about women in sport who would support Austria throughout, but only if she does the right things. And I'm definitely sure Austria will do it. And if she does it, she will get our full support. And with that, I would want to say, Austria, you are our next SAFA president. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that one, Merabele. I think more than anything else I want to pick up from the words that you've just mentioned is that we, as a South African woman in Sports Foundation, will support her if she does the right things. That's when she will get that support, because it speaks extensively to accountability. I will hold you to account as much as we expect you to hold us into account. And ladies and gentlemen, holding somebody to account requires you to run as an ethical person who understands ethical leadership, who is able to run with integrity. And with that, I would like to call Dr. David Molapo to expound on this theme around ethical leadership. It's one thing to want to lead, but it's a different thing to lead with integrity and ethics. And to help us understand and manifest exactly what ethics means in this current discourse in South Africa, Dr. David Molapo, I'm sure you'll be able to elaborate on that one much better. Please welcome him.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Look to someone at your left or your right, umbheke, and say something like this: you look stronger than the strongest washing powder. Please do that. Thank you. I only say that when I see Austria, you look stronger than, you may not feel like it, but you look stronger than it. It's by faith, Pastor Akir. It is true that the just shall live by faith. We walk by faith. Let's give our program director a wonderful round of applause. Thank you, Faith. On success there. To the dignitaries, to the people in the media, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. When I'm in this place, my emotions are evoked because a couple of years ago, on the other side, for the whole week, we were doing the commemoration of our late icon, Ntate Nelson Rolihlahla Madiba Mandela. And for 5 days, Faith, I was handling that program there. So it is appropriate today that we're here to show support of another icon, legend, extra legend, extra legend. That's an inside joke, they know what I'm talking about there. Life is like a coin. You may use it any way you wish, but you can only use it one time. Your life and my life are symbolic. Your life is like a coin. All you have to do is to maximize and optimize this thing called life. And if the truth be told, Africa, since this is Africa Month, is faced with the challenge of leadership. There is a bankruptcy, there is a vacuum of leadership. The cry for ethical leadership has echoed down from Kokasi, townships, faith-based organizations, NGOs, churches, and we can go on and on, including more SAFA, while people are suffering more SAFA. I believe that I'm here representing the ICANN Foundation, 6,000 schools, TVET colleges, particularly the next generation of leaders that are looking for a change, looking for ethical leadership. And you may ask, what are the traits of ethical leadership? An ethical leader, before I talk about the trait, is the one who understands the word lead, L-E-A-D, lead. You lead by loving yourself and loving the people you lead. The letter E, you encourage yourself so that you can encourage other people. The letter A, you are willing to be advised, to be coached and mentored by other people so that you can be able to do the same. And the letter D, you discover your God-given ability, you develop skills, including ethical skills, so that you can be deployed to serve the people. Because an ethical leader is a person who understands the importance of servant leadership. It's all about serving. A servant leader is the one who will respect everyone equally. A servant leader will communicate openly. They are hot communicators, H-O-T. They communicate honestly, openly, and transparently. They are able to mediate because at the end of the day, a leader is there to serve. The problem in Africa is this, that we die with our leadership skills. We need to identify people, the next generation of leaders, pass the baton, be able to coach and mentor them so that they can do better than us. And that is why change is needed. We as Majita, as Auti, Babu Gentile, we've done our part. And it's time to pass the baton. Because it is true, man, if you want the best man for the job, get a woman. And yes, an ethical leader is a person who is honest. They are filled and fueled by this thing called integrity. Because there is a difference between reputation and integrity. Reputation is people's perceptions about you, but integrity is who you are when no one else is around. Faith, I'm sick and tired of people smiling at me, even in leadership. Antoine, they say, how are you doing? Fine, you're bastard. You know, people, you know. A person of integrity is a person who knows himself and herself, and they are not intimidated by other people. They are secured in who they are. And finally, I believe that this time for change is all about a person like Ria, who I know for many years. I believe an ethical leader must have these 7 traits. They must commit to create a great experience for others. We cannot, not in my name, have majority of the people being women and still a Majita running everything. Something is not right. Number 2, an ethical person is the person who will watch over, not hover, not control, not having this what I call the Boere's role mentality. The Boere's role mentality is this idea that I get all I can all I get, I sit on my can. An ethical leader is there to give. They watch over, they don't hover. They inquire, they understand, they connect. They don't intrude or dominate. They always involve and include people. And I believe it is a skill that women, by God's grace, have been given. So, in conclusion, it is true that we need ethical leadership. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. That is why people like us will continue to pray for Ria. Coach, mentor, do whatever we need to do, as we're already doing. So let's give her a chance. Let's support her. Let's pray for her. Because life is like a coin. You may use it any way you wish, but you can only use it one time. Upila guy one. Kinako segunjalo for women to take over. God bless.
I think, Dr. David Munap, we're going to walk away today understanding the Boere's mentality and the Boere's role mentality. So once you are in the presence of people and somebody does something to you and you say, don't be a Boere's role. That is exactly what's going to happen. With that, I'd like us to take a moment where we get insight from those that are within the football fraternity. those who understand the game, know how it's played, not only that, have got experience in being able to say, I want a leader who can lead like this. Because I face the daily realities of being someone within this fraternity. So this morning, we called upon the legends themselves. We have the legend in the form of Portia Modise, and then we've got Legend Plus in the form of Dr. Kumar. So before I go to the legend, let me go to the Legend Plus. Dr. Kumalo, come and expound a little bit on this, on the experience.
Yo. Legend.
Plus.
Who? No. Extra. Not plus. Hey, Doc, that was powerful. Yo. But anyway, thanks for the opportunity and good morning to the members of the media, distinguished guests, program director. I know probably some of the media guys, they think I just want to be like Samuel Eto'o, but that's not the case. I'm standing before you guys as an individual that has a concern about our game, how things are being supposed to be unfolding in football. I've served this game for years as an individual that comes from dusty streets of Soweto, and I've been through informal and formal coaching, not knowing that one day Prashik Mashaba will invite me to be part of the NSL 11. As you all know, that I was not part of the first national team that was selected by the late, may his soul rest in peace, Jeff Butler. But I am proud to say, Prashik, thanks very much for giving me the opportunity, you and Terry Payne, because I don't think the late understood what I was made of. And for that, I was given an opportunity by being selected by Stanley Skrima Shabalala to represent South Africa in 1992, which is 30 years ago. And I did what I was good at. Bebal Saba, I took it. Because I'm coming from a varsity that taught me to be brave, a varsity that gave me an opportunity, leadership that gave me an opportunity and showed me respect and how to respect. But all that has gone into vain. There are politicians that spoke, but I'm talking about football. Are we doing justice to the young generation out there? No. I'm coming from the dusty streets. No. It's from the dusty streets efforts. Because leadership was key. They gave us an opportunity to represent a so-called South Africa that was deprived an opportunity to test their strength against international teams or countries. But in '92, we showed them what we're made of. And I scored that goal against Cameroon, and I'm proud. Yeah. What I want to see happening is change, whether it's the current structure or the future structure. Whether President Deni keeps his job, his position, it's fine. But until when? 3 times in. Oh. We managed through the SAFA leadership, through legends, corporate, media, And lastly, South Africans. We embraced the flag of South Africa. We knew what does that mean to us. 92 we won against Cameroon. 4 years later, we were crowned champions. And let me make it clear. Some of the legends today in Africa, whenever I talk to JJ Okocha or Daniela Mukachi, they'll be like, you guys were crowned because you were host. So we cannot qualify ourselves, but we probably qualified because we're hosting. But in 96, we qualified for the 96 Africa Cup of Nations because we were only told after we've beaten Madagascar, in Madagascar. And through the media guys, they came to the camp because there's division. Today, media is isolated. But then, Thomas Kwenaite came to Clive Barker and told him, you don't have to play Doc in the middle. They've planned against him. So I went wide. We changed the strategy because our media personnel helped us. But today, the media is nowhere. Leadership, you're tsotsi, you're clever, it's key in South Africa. This country is blessed with talent. We are only envying positions, but not delivering. We'd rather kill, disrespect, suppress because of a position. And why can't we get people with ethic in terms of delivering? Ushilo President Lawat Abafazi, they can show you the way. And don't get me wrong, I'll still maintain, whether it's a current structure or the new structure, we'll only support people that will bring change in our game. Change where regions are being supported, not suppressed. Development, grassroots, supported, not suppressed. Education in terms of coaches, given proper structures, facilities, because what is happening in the township, if you have a Maserati, you can coach a team. But we expect Bafana to be in Qatar. How possible is that? We have, for those who don't understand, in South Africa, all our accolades, whatever we have achieved, is because of our own coaches. Brashakes, remember the first coach to qualify the under-23s for Olympics? Yeah. Clive Barker, 1996, and he took us where? To the World Cup. Jomo Sono, 2002. Trot Muloto, and what did we do? We only suppressed Pito because we thought he was a failure. But it took Senegal 8 years to believe in Cissé, and today he's the champion. Why can't we? Why can't we believe in our own? Is it because of poor leadership? Then there should be a change. Then there should be a change. But believe it or not, this country, it's a country of champions. We cannot afford to be saying, Fish, Lucas, Doctor, wow, 96. It's 26 years ago. Nothing has happened. We only strive not to win, now to qualify. This is our goal as a country. He used to say to us, they might be playing in bigger leagues. They might be earning a lot of money. world knows them. But what I saw when we played France was embarrassing, because we played against England, we played against France, we played against Germany, but through leadership, there's only one thing that we were told in the dressing room. The difference is the national anthem, but they are like you guys. And we went out with Dick Dip, because he said, you're not representing your friends or yourselves, but the nation. So if the nation is in crisis, what's supposed to be done? Change is needed. Change is needed because he said it. May his soul rest in peace. So, if it happens that there should be change and the new structure takes over, please do not disrespect or disregard the efforts of the custodian of football in this country. Why can't we use our own, the likes of Prasheks, Skrima Shabalala, Clive Barker, Jomo Sono, and the list is endless, to say serve in this committee for you to guide anybody that comes in. We have a current coach now that I respect. Why is it that he can't meet his colleagues in the PSL? Because there's no leadership, there's no cohesion. Why Clive managed to talk to all the coaches? Why did Prasheks manage to talk to all the coaches when he was a coach? Our own national team coach, there are certain things he can't do. He comes into the country, you can't take away or shy away about what Sundowns is doing. The best team ever. They've got the best players ever. How do you go and play a serious match and sacrifice South Africans, not the national team? And you leave out players that I strongly believe would have made a difference. Because there is no way Ethan Brook could play away against Ghana and give us results. Whereas Andy Lechal is out there, experienced player. But with the help of legends, masters, it would have been a difference. It would have made a difference. But I had an interview that happened last week. And legends were lambasted. Just because Lucas said he wants to serve. Is there anything wrong with it? Should he go to the structures down there to dirty his hands? But do you guys know that when we played in DRC, we had to live 5 days with Coke and bread only because we couldn't eat their food? Is that not sacrifice? So why can't we be part of the structure? Why can't the Prasheks can't be the part of the structure? How do you expect football to be better in South Africa if the people who walk the path are not part of it? How? How are you in your right frame of mind lambast a legend that is being respected in England? He's been honored, because we don't do that in South Africa. But what we do, we chop and criticize them because they know. They know how to do it and when to do it and why to do it. The how part of it may be later. So, I'm saying with the change, let's consider our ancestors that made this game to be what it is today. There's so much bloodshed in this country that we cannot afford to go another 3 years without change. But I can go on and on and on and on. That she deserves it?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Can I steal your water? So it's usually second half, ne? We dehydrate and hydrate. So it's half time. Half time, yes.
You've got literally 30 seconds.
It doesn't matter.
Score a goal.
In football, there's what we call referee's optional time. So, so if there's any change that needs to happen, if Mam Ria will be the person to make change, I personally will support that. But only if all the coaches that I've mentioned, they are in the structure. It's time we need to have our own people that vafake structures in South Africa. If Brad Stan will be sitting at benchini and saying to me, Doggy, Angena go boy. It's the language I understand. I don't have an interpreter with those in. No. So when you come today, hey, Evan Brook, now we have changed the formation, now we're playing from transition. It's true, because one of the players from one of the big teams didn't understand what is transition. So it's very key we remain and understand the culture. What is South Africa made of? So South Africa is made of people who were bleeding, sweater, and fought and made it right. So my pugile, asilungise. And I would like to say again, SAFA, do not distance yourself from the media. Because personally, I have experience in terms of how they will help. Because we need them. And thank you guys for attending. Nengang Miss Koti, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Ije, for the sake, not of the game only, but the custodian of football, we need change. Thank you.
Hi, if there ever was a moment, what do they call it? Doggy dog? Is that how the referral goes? Siabong. I think more than anything else, I think what has become very apt is that you kept making reference to the past tense. So it would mean that we're living in the glory of the past instead of the glory of the present. And I guess I would ask us to reflect today on how long do we want to live in the glory of the past instead of the glory of the present? Are we South Africans of the past, or are we South Africans of the now? With that, ladies and gentlemen, before I call upon my next speaker, I just want to ensure that everybody gets to go home after this press conference and nobody gets to say, my car is stuck, because I don't know if we've got jumper cables for you. So I'm going to ask Hyundai Gets, whoever owns a Hyundai Gets with the registration plate RVJ319, your lights are on. So madam or sir, if you want to get home after this press conference, I don't have jumper cables, so I cannot help you. So please make sure that you switch off your vehicle so that we are able to get home all right with this one. With that, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to call upon the legend, Portia Modise.
Sanbonan, good morning. Ninjan. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm listening to everyone. Oya Kumsha is taking English. I'm taking it back. I'm taking it back. You know why I'm here today? I'm here to support Mama Ria. You know, I grew up in front of Mama Ria. I think I was 12 to 11 when I started to play for a national team. She was like a mother to me, an enemy to me. Woo! I will fight with Mama Ria. I will fight with friend. Mamela, I was born to be a leader. I knew that. Which I was born to be a leader. I was so brave in the young age. But as Coach Shakes, but I was strong. But hey, Lomtana Lo was Soweto, this girl from Soweto. Yeah, it's very stubborn. I was very stubborn because I grew up playing with boys. I used to be a star, I used to shine playing with boys. For me, it was all about football. It was never about the gender. It was never about the gender. It was about football. So when I started to play for a national team, me playing Nabo Gifty Leremi, playing Nabo Litsunyana in my development space, in the dusty street of football, challenge, I'm one pal. Then I start to see these guys making it. I knew I was good more than them. Then I'm like, I need to make it too. Then I start to enter in a women's football like, yeah, that was a nightmare. I didn't enjoy my football. The only thing I enjoyed was politics. The only thing that I enjoyed was me being suppressed, us being suppressed as women. No one wants to listen to us. What we want, what we're crying for, our voices, they needed to be heard as women. But no, as young I was, seeing about Desiree Ellis, about Cabo Zita, about Figiles Toll. People, they don't know about those people that I'm talking about today. Because people that they were leading before, they didn't create the legacy for us to be remembered. We were just tools that they were used then. Funny. We were such a nice tools, eh? Singing that national anthem, like Udog said, with pride, understanding why we're singing it. We were soldiers in a different way. You know, when you see those soldiers carrying those guns, we were soldiers with that round thing. Because going Africa, it was not easy. I remember when I was in Nigeria, it was only one team that was qualifying to go to the World Cup. We went to Nigeria, we played them home, Caledonian Stadium, we played them draw for the first time. I scored 2 goals. I was like, I'll break this chain. Then we went to Nigeria. For the first time, they put us in a nice hotel. We were so blinded, we couldn't see what they were planning. Then we get to this hotel, they give us food poison. All of our players, they were dying. Cabo Zita was in the hospital. We thought we're not going to go home with Cabo Zita. He was the worst one. We cried. It was only 4 players that left. They wanted us to go play still. We got to the stadium. The full stadium was full. We needed to dress, 4 of us, going to the tunnel to make sure which Nigerian fans, they see which the team is not full. Other teammates are sick. We needed to be there inside the stadium to make sure what they see which we sick. We got there. It was not easy to come out. We nearly died. We cried. We cried for help, for SAFA, help. No one cared. No one even talked about our story. They hide it under the table. There was Portia complaining, shut up, boy, shut up. Because when you know why you didn't go to school, but forgetting why I didn't go to school. They used me, singing that national anthem, scoring those goals. You know, I have 15 years in my career in football. 15. Probably there's a university needs to give me a what do you call it? You know, I listen to talk, ne? I listen to talk, I'm like, Esh. You know, I wish I can tell the same stories about women the way talk speaks. We do have those women, but they were hidden. We didn't know about them. We still have those women that are powerful, but no one talks about them. We have players that they played road, we played overseas, but no one talks about our achievements. I remember when my president, Tuteni, gave me a golden boot. They made me retire anyway, because I'm a strong woman. I'm like, Usisri, I'm very strong. That is why I will fight with him, with her. Because I was strong while I was still young. I remember when they made me retire, because I was very vocal. We need a gender equality. We need to be paid the same. I'm getting 400, I'm playing for a national team. I'm getting 3.5 for my game. I don't even have a signing on fee coming to the camp. About talk, they'll tell you we have 50,000. Wait! 50,000, that time I'm living in the shack. Scoring those goals, being the top goal scorer in Africa, I'm living in the shack. No one cares. The only thing they want to see is me coming to that national team. Then at the end of the day, they abuse me because I don't even have a freedom. I'm being suppressed. This is me who want to play football. Sometimes I have to sacrifice myself because I really want to play. Because I know if I can talk too much tomorrow, they will call me in the national team. Because you know what I said? I said, give me the proper national tracksuit. Stop giving me dogs national tracksuit. They will give me dog tracksuit, then I have to sew that tracksuit. Where's my tracksuit? I can't share. I'll share tights. I'll share sport bra. Who does that? That's kusasa when you speak. People say, "Oh, posho khuluma cool." You know why you'll say people I talk too much? Because you've never been in my shoes. You never experienced what I've experienced. You know, I fought with these women because I could see what they could lead, but they were hiding themselves. They were still begging something, I don't know what. And I will say to them, you know, you will say, you know, Posh, it's always easy to fight inside, not outside, but you've been inside. There's nothing is happening. Now you outside even worse. But you didn't fight while you were inside. So you're telling me to wait until to be, who's going to put me inside when you didn't recognize me while you were there? As a woman. As a woman. Who's going to put me there if when as a woman didn't recognize me? And you didn't empower me. Instead what you saw is a problem child. So, I'm saying, Sister Ria, I'm glad Guti today you saw my vision. I'm glad. I once said, I wish I could be a president. It's just that these people, they made it difficult for footballers. They want these studies that we didn't go. Yeah, nobody want to run the space. They don't even have certificates. They didn't even run in school. They didn't even participate to any sports. But us footballers, we're sitting outside. That is why this football is going to go down in the drain. And I hear people say, well, women's football is improving. With what? Tracksuits. For you giving us tracksuits, it's improving. Do you know these players where they sleep? You know, after camp, we go to North and take a taxi. After me scoring goals, I can't even walk from the stadium. People want to take photos. People want interviews. But you know the trauma that I have when I go back home. After showering, using a bath, I need to use a Vasco, dude. There's no transaction in my life. But you know why? I'm singing that national anthem with pride, making people proud. When they see me, where did you give me? You know, when I won this poster of the year, I couldn't even go celebrate. You know what I was thinking? What if I'm going to lose this shirt, I'm going to start to build myself a house. While these people wanted to go, for me to go being out there and celebrate, I couldn't go. I was like, yo, I'm done. Finally, I will have a proper house. While I was scoring goals, no one wanted to think. As this player, scoring goals, singing that national anthem for us with pride, maybe we need to check where it comes from. Where we need to check, I will sleep without 18 because they will never pay us within 6 months. No one cared. Instead, what they see is this child that is complaining. So this is me. I was asking with the same children that I see growing up. They will experience the very same thing that I've experienced. The same depression that I went through. You know, when I hear people talking about depression, I'm like, maybe I experienced it a lot of time, but I didn't know it was depression. You know, because, you know, that time it was not popular. But maybe you grow up here, when you have things, you go out and hang around with your friends, you come back, you're like, I know, sing him George. You know? But today there's people killing themselves, taking their lives. Because this thing is real. It's even, like, I sometimes I get that, you know why? Sometimes I'm living on money petrol. I don't have money for gas. Sometimes I don't have money for food. Even now, the top goal scorer in Africa, who talk mnani. So I'll say, I remember when I scored the beautiful goal in London. I remember now, Coach Shakes. Yeah, we were playing AGMN. We used to call each other Mbuz. I can see you want to dribble off them, but if you can check this goalkeeper is always coming out, and you can take one, then you head up, then you take a shot. I go back, then I get this ball. It was preparation going to the Olympics. We were in Germany. I get this ball, then I remember, I see this goalkeeper. I take a shot, I score this goal, I say, Boozy. You see, the story continues because we get to the Olympics in London. The same situation happened. I intercept the ball in the middle field. I remember Wani. I take that shot. That is the goal everyone that is crazy about in South Africa, just because the coaching age, we are class, we lost the culture. We lost the culture. So it's what I'm saying, yes, we can have these coaches, pay those coaches that you want to pay millions, but you don't want to pay us. Tina, we need to be hungry as black people, because you don't believe in us. But we know how to identify our talent, because this is home. This is home. So I will say, Mama Ria, nyazi tala silo banye bazoba confused laba be media nyabazi. They'll be so confused. Hey, Uposha today is here to support Mama Ria. I never hated Mama Ria. He was my mother. But I wanted always Yena to recognize the power that she has. She can lead. You know, every time when I fight to Mama Ria, nyam shogoloza. I'm prove you wrong. When you prove me wrong, you do the right things. I'm like. So don't ever get me wrong. I'm young, gents. I was raised in a good way, in a very, very good way. Normal, there was no money at home, but they told me that I'll always respect abantu abadala, but I will challenge umntu omdala if I wins in the right. Because end of the day, it's not even about us. One day I wanna have kids. One day maybe abantwana bam they will take over, playing football. Do I wanna send them there in that jungle? No. I need to fix this jungle. I don't care good you love me or what. I don't want you to love me now. You didn't love me while I was playing, scoring goals, singing that national anthem. You didn't think I deserve better. So don't think you may not care now. We just want the right thing for women's football.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to ask for your attention at this moment. I think you can even see that my facial structure has changed a little bit, but I've been tasked to bring you this message, which will be further elaborated on by the legal representative of Ria Ledwaba, that she will indeed not be attending this morning. And the reason why she will not be attending this morning is because I'm sure many of you members of the media, you've all are witness and you've all heard. From what we understand, and of course, I see Luruma is there, is that she has been threatened with expulsion. I'm not the individual who's going to expound on this, nor am I the expert who's going to expound on this. So I would like to welcome up to the podium at this moment, Lerumo Tobejana, the legal representative of Ria Ledwaba, to further give us clarity on the recent developments.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, my name is indeed Leruma Emmanuel Tobejani. I'm here as the attorney and legal representative of Mrs. Ria Ledwaba. It is true that since Friday afternoon the 6th, she received a circular, the effect of which was to prohibit her from holding any press conference. I engaged her, she consulted with me, we went through the circular, and as a lawyer, I pick my fights. I don't advise my client if I believe I'm not going to be able to win the case. Yep. When the waters are muddied, don't allow people to drink. My advice was that let's seek further clarity to the letter issued by SAFA on Friday the 6th. Indeed, we wrote a letter. We got a response late yesterday afternoon. I sat in consultation with Maria almost the whole night. She was still insistent on addressing you, members of the media. And as an attorney, I had to take a decision that will not prejudice her candidacy. My advice to her was that let's wait until tomorrow. Let me go and further research and read the whole night. I had to abandon court today to make sure that I further consult with her, but I did not want her to risk expulsion or suspension. I did not have to do that, knowing that this was a pre-arranged event. There were guests invited, members of the media were already invited. I had to man up and come and address you on her behalf to say, rather, risk her candidacy for the presidency. Let me come and disappoint you with this bad news. I think we're at the best center for addressing you, the Nelson Mandela Foundation. I don't have to narrate the story of Nelson Mandela to you. You all know. If you are born to be a leader, and if you are going to one day lead SAFA, that's going to happen, no matter what. I stand here on principle. I denied her the opportunity to address you based on legal principle, not based on her wishes. So I tender my apology, sincere apology, to all who attended. But as I listened to Portia, I think I don't have to apologize, actually. I have to say, Aluta, continue. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tobejan, I will just implore you not to go too far, because I can imagine at this time we've got lots of questions that will be coming in, and we want to be able to give everybody an opportunity to get some of those questions asked. I'll be facilitating that part of the discussion. And I do see at the back of me, and allow me to put you on the spot, Mr. Mumble, simply because I have spotted you. Yes, you. I have spotted you. As the former CEO of SAFA, I think that it will be within the best practice to be able to clarify on how is it that the nomination process works, how is it that the candidacy for presidency works, and also the boundaries and the spec of how the operations work. Because as I stand here, and I do not claim to be any expert when it comes to the issues when it comes to football, but I'm sure many of us are confused. And I would like us to all leave here without any form of confusion. So, Dennis Mumble, former SAFA CEO. Allow me to put you on the spot. And I do thank you for this, but I think that within seeking clarity and understanding about how exactly we got you, I'm going to ask you just to make your way to the podium. And you can encourage him, by the way. As I said, I am putting him on the spot. Yeah, you're even welcome to take on the podium. I think more than anything else, it's just around clarity around how does this actually work and how is it that we've come to this understanding. I was not anticipating the legal representative, no offense. I think we were all anticipating Ria Ledwaba this morning. So, yeah, the platform is yours.
Yeah, it's shocking, Faith. I'm sitting there, I'm waiting, just hoping to see Ria walk in here. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. It's good to see all of you here. I've just come like all of you, I think, coming to support the need for change in South African football. I get emotional listening to Portia, because I think we didn't do right. But let me not go into detail on that. I want to use a football analogy. You know, when you as a player run onto that field, you know what predominates there. You know what you need to do there. You know the laws of the game says to the referee what the offside rule is. You know the size of the field. You know the size of the goalposts. And that's all done before you enter that field. The scene is set for you to run and go and play. On top of that, you also have the competition rules. And those competition rules say, okay, for all of those teams that play, if there are two teams that are tied at the end of at the end of that round of the competition, or at the end of this competition, the winner will be declared by way of goal difference and then other criteria. What I'm driving at here is the fact that the rules are set long before you enter the game, long before you run onto the pitch. And what we are seeing right now in South African football is an election campaign with no rules. And the rules are being made up as we go along. First of all, I was asked, I'm a researcher, I do a lot of research, it's my job. And I was asked to look deeper into what is happening in South African football now, to analyze the changes that have been made, the constitutional amendments that have been made. And what I can tell you right now is that SAFA has become a closed society. The Constitution is designed to make SAFA a closed society, because now you have so many impediments to qualification for office in SAFA that the South African public has no right anymore to actually participate in the game unless a few selected individuals have said so. You will be allowed to do so. The eligibility criteria, all of a sudden now you must have, yes, there has been some criteria before, but it used to be open. 10 years of experience in football. Most of us have more than 10 years of experience in football. But now you must have 10 years experience in football at a certain level. So everybody else is closed out. And I think that Constitution, I'm writing something, and I will share my analysis of that Constitution later. But let's talk about the election. There's a governance committee that they say that have been appointed. Under the old Constitution, there used to be an electoral committee. And that electoral committee's work was governed by the electoral code of the South African Football Association. I wrote that code. There's an electoral code of conduct. I also wrote that code. To make sure that participation is fair, participation in the elections is open and it's transparent. The new Constitution has removed all of that. And they put together a governance committee And in the Constitution, there are only 2 references to the role of the Governance Committee. In one article, in Article 30, it says that the Governance Committee shall appoint a review subcommittee who will conduct the eligibility tests. That's the end of the role of the committee. On the other hand, in Article 50 of that Constitution, it says that the chairperson of the Governance Committee will oversee the election. But what rules is he using, or is that person using? There are no rules. The appointment of the Governance Committee was done as a kind of a by-the-way thing in the Congress on the 26th of March. None of SAFA's members, I know this because I've researched this, I have to speak to many SAFA people because of the work that I do. None of them were actually given the names beforehand. The names were introduced at the Congress. Here are members for you to approve. You either approve them or, well, I wouldn't say or else. It's just, please approve these names. For those of you who will remember, I think a few weeks before that Congress, some names were announced in the media. And I can tell you, because I've spoken to them except for one person, that none of them knew that they were being appointed to the committee. None. They didn't know. Their names were put in the paper, but they didn't know. 2 of them declined after that saga. So already there we start with a handicap. The people who are supposed to oversee the election themselves are now being questioned as a result of that mess. Then we see new names coming in that I know, because I speak to the regents in SAFA as part of my job. I'm writing a book. And what I heard from them is that we did not know about these names, or we did not discuss these names in the meeting. And so the question becomes now, who made these selections? Who made these choices? So already we are starting with the handicap, is that the people who are supposed to run the election, they themselves don't have a governance instrument, meaning that electoral code. Remember I said I wrote an electoral code previously. It was approved by the SAFA Congress. At least that electoral code has been removed from the Constitution. It's never been rescinded by Congress, meaning that it's still valid. But I don't know whether that governance committee knows that it's still valid. So then you have a scenario where you see a memorandum that comes and says, listen, you can't do that. You can't do this. Who made that rule? Because it doesn't exist. I can tell you it doesn't exist. I know word for word what is in that electoral code. And whoever issued the letter doesn't have the authority to issue that letter in the first place. When you talk about sports law, that's my line. It's what I do nowadays. For those of you, I've been out of football for 4 years now almost. And, well, not out of football, I've been out of SAFA for almost 4 years. But what I do professionally is to do research on the rules of football. And what I can tell you in terms of the global sports law and in terms of just sports case law in South Africa Council, they don't have the authority to do what they have done in that letter. Nobody has that authority. First of all, the General Secretariat of the Association does not have the authority to decide on matters of competence. The matter of competence here is who governs this election, and it's only the first instance body with the competence to decide that can take such a decision. That memo says to me that that didn't come from a committee, it came from an individual, and an individual that doesn't have the authority to do so. So there is no longer any governance rules that are visible to the candidates who participate, who are supposed to participate in this election process. So nobody knows what the rules are. So what we see is the rules are being made up as we go along. and then people have to pay the price. Mr. Tobajane has to leave. You said that you're supposed to be in court today? Yes. He has to leave his court cases to come and deal with something for which people don't have the authority to do so. So, Doc, this thing of people talking about, no Lucas Radebe and the legends don't belong in football, I don't understand that part of it. Because the very people who are saying it have themselves not done anything in the regions. They themselves have not been there. They've not played football at the level that you played. I wonder if they've even played football. I'm serious. Because for those who are actually talking about this, they're the very ones who are saying, who themselves have not come from the structures that you come from. Yes, you can come from a university, but you know what better university is there than the University of Football? Who says that you don't know the game enough for you to be able to participate at the level that you need to participate? We train coaches, we train referees, we train administrators. Why can the legends not be trained? Bring them into the structure, and then if you say they are not qualified, train them. You have a responsibility to train them. So what I'm saying is that, rules are being made up as we go along. We don't know the rules up front. We don't know what it is that we are faced with here. And so the candidates who are part of this process are being handicapped because the people who are making up the rules, I can tell you now, are candidates themselves, hoping to get other candidates and keep them out. That's what we are facing in South African football, and that is the reason why we have to fight this thing. Thank you.
I'm also going to require that and request that you don't go too far, just for the purpose of being able just to field some questions. Members of the media, colleagues, do you have any questions at this time? I'd like to open it up the floor. I'm going to ask that we keep it as brief as possible, just given in light of the recent developments as well. And I'm going to request Mr. Mumble, as well as with you, Mr. Tobejane, to be able to field some of those questions. So just raise your hand, and then I'll literally do a count, and we'll be able to just get those questions out. So 1, gentleman there with the green, 2. So you'll be my 2, 3, lady in red, 4, and then 5. Can we start with that for in the beginning, just for the first round of questions? Let's go to 1.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Mumble. Thanks. I just want to ask that from what we just heard, you're actually confirming that the play field is not level in terms of where we are going to. So the question is that, it means that as a civil society who support Mamria and fairness, we could actually take SAFA to court to interdict them, to actually make sure that the rules suit everybody, and therefore we can have a credible election and an outcome. So what you just said, actually, you've put the spanner in the works, and if Mamria does not win, then hell is going to break loose. God forbid.
Okay, that was more of a statement than a question. Let's go to 2. 2. It's the gentleman at the back, Mama.
Thank you. It's Tsepo Tobani from ENCA. To both the lawyer and Mr. Mumble, please explain to us, because now everything seems to be confusing now, especially with regards to when you are voted to be a candidate for a presidency. What goes into that? Who votes for you? Number 2, we were told about a governing committee. Do you think that the governing committee is fair, since it was appointed by SAFA? And then to the lawyer, what is the next step from here, and what are the implications? Because what we know currently is that Mamria was not supposed to be holding a press conference. From your side, what is the next step moving forward to ensure that at least there's fairness in this whole process? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have that? Do you need to answer specifically, or can I get through the 5 questions? Are we comfortable with that? Okay, you get it. Okay, let's start off with you.
I'll answer the last question. I'll leave the rest for Mr. Mumble. Thank you very much. Regarding the way forward, I think in my statement I said you wait for the right moment to go to court. You don't go to court willy-nilly when you don't have a solid case. In short, there will be the right moment when we'll approach court. But at this stage, the time is not ripe for that. I hope I answered you.
Mr. Mumble.
Yeah, you talk about the fairness question. Chapo, I think that's your question. No, I don't think this is fair, as I've said, for the reasons that I've mentioned before, that it cannot be fair. And even the structure of the governance committee, they'll probably take me to court after I say this, because you have 5 members that have been announced. The one has been an advisor to one of the candidates for the last 8 years. How fair can that be? The other one worked for one of the candidates before. How fair can that be? Under the old electoral code, or let me not say the old, because it's still valid. Under the electoral code of SAFA, as we speak, it's still valid. Under that electoral code, no government official could serve on an election panel in football. That's a FIFA instruction. It's still valid, because FIFA still insists no government official must be involved in a football structure, especially when it comes to overseeing elections. But we have a government official sitting on that body. Why? And has it been told that there is such a prohibition from FIFA, not from anywhere else, from FIFA, that says you may not serve on an electoral structure of a football association if you're a government official? That's from the SAFA electoral code. And so now you must ask the question, how fair is this election going to be, being run by people who shouldn't be there in the first place, who are aligned with a particular candidate? So, yes, in terms of fairness, no, I don't see this election going to be fair. First of all, there are no rules, and then the deck is stacked against anybody else who may want to run because of the associations, which I think are not correct. It doesn't denote to me a sufficient independence from those in power for them to be able to render a proper oversight over the election process. So it can't be fair.
All right, then let me go to the back there as well. Let's just get the microphone to the back very quickly. Is there a microphone on the other side? Okay, we'll start here, and then we'll go to you.
Good afternoon, Kuma from NEFSA. So I just wanted to ask, it's actually not even a question, it's more like a statement. Are we trying to say that in football, especially South Africa, the succession plan is just a myth?
All right. 4, let's go to the back, to the gentleman at the back.
Good afternoon, Benjamin from Newsroom Africa. Mr. Mumble, firstly to you, you used to sing from the same hymn page as Danny Jordan. You were his comrade for some time, at least it seems, from outside. No, Mr. Mumble, you used to defend President Jordan quite a lot in press conferences. Have you always been against his governance style or structure? And there's certain things that in the last election certainly raised eyebrows. Did you raise your opinions that you're bringing forth right now? And since you say you wrote those laws or statutes, by law, is it something that can be challenged and this election declared null and void when it does happen, or should it happen on the 25th of June?
Benjamin, can I request also that we just take your question afterwards? I'm going to go to one more right here, and then he will respond likewise.
Sorry, also, can I just, I missed the attorney's name in full. Thank you. Sorry.
Lirumo Tobejani.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to 5. Let's get the microphone right here. To Mama here.
Thank you very much. I have a question.
Sure.
We are convened here by civil society. I'm part of civil society. Does SAFA bar Ria from coming to the civil society to come and, because we're hosting her, we are the one who have called her here. Is there a rule that is saying that a nominee cannot come and be celebrated by people that she has been working hard for? Because we are the South Africans, we are the public, we are the ones who want to see transformation. We have also been supporting Danny Jordan, but we are saying right now, we want transformation and change, and we wanted to celebrate the nominee. So I'm asking a clear question.
Yeah.
Is there a rule that she has contravened, and that is why she is not here to celebrate the hosting by the civil society? We are South Africans. We want the nominee to come here because she's working hard for South Africans, and for women in particular.
We're going to give an opportunity as well to Luruma to be able to answer those questions. Do I have a second round of questions before we go into those answers? One, just please remember, one, and then 2 at the lady on this side, and then 3 at the back for now. Do I have any more? Do I have at least 2 more? So it's 1, and then 2, and then 3. I'm going to give up an opportunity first before I move on to the next round of questions to get those answers. Let's start off with Benjamin's question at the back there as well, Mr. Mumble. This is regarding how you were in support of Danny Jordan during the structures, and also as somebody who wrote the laws, does that mean that the laws can be challenged and actually the vote and election be declared null and void?
Yeah, thanks very much. Can you hear me? Thanks very much, Benjamin. Your question, I'm not so sure whether I want to make this about me. This is about Ria. And I want us to focus the attention on Ria. It's not about Danny Jordan, because it's not him that's called this gathering here today. It's civil society who wants to see change in South African football. But no, I would want to ask you to tell me where it is that you've seen me defending Danny Jordan in public. Just show me one instance. If I was defending anything, I was defending South African football and South African Football Association. I've never defended an individual. So, but we can take that up at another time. Let's not make this about me. In terms of the rules, yes, the rules can be challenged. The way you construct the rules is in a way, if I can just step back a little bit, and the lawyers will help me out on here. When you put together a set of rules, and particularly a constitution, there's a basic structure to a constitution. And that basic structure has elements of fairness, of transparency, of separation of powers, and all of those related things that divide the responsibilities of the organization amongst different bodies within the organization. That's how you bring and you construct a constitution of an organization. And to make sure that you have rules and regulations that speak to the aims and objectives of the organization. And so to that extent, when you put those rules in place, there is always the issue of making or providing an opportunity and some language in those rules for those rules to be challenged. So when we talk about the rules, that were there. I think those rules are still valid and can be used. As I said, they have not been rescinded. It's still there, so they can't come and tell you, no, those things are no longer in the Constitution, because that very same Constitution says in order for a decision not to be valid anymore, it needs a 2/3 majority vote for that rule to be rescinded or that decision to be rescinded. So the SAFA Electoral Code, as far as I am concerned, is still valid, as much as it's not in the current Constitution. The SAFA Electoral Code of Conduct that would have prevented this thing from happening is still valid because it was passed by a Congress. You can't have an executive body now coming and saying, no, that's not valid anymore. They can't. They don't have the power to overturn the decision of a Congress. That's a collection or collective of the membership that took that decision, and only a 2/3 majority can actually rescind that decision. There are decisions that have been taken by Congress that are just roundly being ignored. So finally, and to conclude on Benjamin's question, we've had fights internally. It's the reason why I'm not in a South African Football Association today, is because of those fights, because sometimes you can't continue to fight internally, Portia. You have to fight from outside. It becomes impossible. And if you've read my report, 2 years later, not a single item of my report has been addressed within SAFA. I'm still waiting. But the time is going to come when that has to be dealt with as well. I have written an extensive report about the problems that we faced. And no, in 2018, the reason why I left in 2018 was specifically because there were things that I was asked to do in that election which I refused to do. And Ace Noble will tell you. Because you can't go around threatening everybody in the world who criticize the South African Football Association, threatening them with discipline and expulsion. That's what happened with Ace. There are charges that have been leveled against Ace, or at least charges that have been drafted against Ace, which I refuse to put before a disciplinary committee because that's what I was asked to do. 31 or 32 charges. No, you must go and charge him. For what? For running as a presidential candidate? No. That's why I'm out of South African football.
Thanks. I would like us to answer the question as raised by civil society saying, what are the parameters? Because here, civil society has called a press conference to celebrate Ria Ledwaba's nomination for presidency, not her calling it herself. So legally, what are we saying to civil society who actually organized and extended an invitation? Can they still do that? Can she be barred?
Well, let me explain myself thoroughly. I'm saying to Ria, there's nothing coming here to address civil society. But the problem with that is that you'll be expelled. So I have to make a decision on her behalf. Do I go to fight her expulsion in court when other candidates are campaigning? Or do I allow her the space? I mean, I know she's not here. I know you would have liked her to be here. But in principle, I'm a lawyer. You are civil society. She has a right to be here. But me as a lawyer, I don't want to waste her time in court fighting her expulsion. I want her candidacy to be preserved.
I want us to get through the question. Where is I've got the first round. There we go, 1, and then we're going to go to 2, and then we're going to go to 3 at the back. I also do see it, and we'll come to you as well. Let's just get the microphone very quickly, just for the sake of time, please.
Yes. Okay. Velile from SABC Sport.
Yes.
Yes. I think my questions go to both Mr. Mumble and Mr. Tobejane. There are, I think, some contentious constitutional items that came from the latest Congress. One has got to do with the nomination process, and we believe that it also touches on the candidacy of Maria and also maybe other candidates as well. Are these part of the factors that you are looking at? I know that you will not let us in on your approach yet to what you're fighting towards these elections, because this one of appearance now, it just adds more to what has already been there. So is that one of the things you are looking at? And I also wanted to know from Mr. Mumble, because if this is going on like this, it could mean that there could possibly be only one or two candidates by the time we get to the elections. So are these the things that as you go to those elections you are also looking at? And also I had heard something about some of the points from this latest Congress that are being challenged, that also the date was just too soon, because when you look at it, if this is going to be only confirmed 2 weeks before, 14 days before the elections, it means that those approved candidates will only have 2 weeks to campaign, literally. So are those moves still there to challenge how soon the date of these elections has been decided, or you are continuing as it is?
All right, I'm going to give an opportunity to both Dennis and Nuruma to answer this question, but I want us to get through some of those questions as well. 2, let's bring the microphone close here, and then we're going to go to 3.
Hi, everybody. I represent civil society. My name is Olivia. I'm from Athletes Against Abuse. In all of this, a letter was written 5 days ago. Where is FIFA on all of this? Why are they so quiet?
Okay, we'll get that question asked, and then let's go to the side there. We've got the 3. Yes, right here. Right here, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I just want to make follow-up on the Commissioner's questions. The inclusions of women in the executive. How many women are there in the executive who are going to be part of the committee that will be running the elections? Secondly, patriarchy system and its management is all over in South Africa. And in South Africa, we have one constitution that address the issue of the imbalance of the past. I think as civil society structures here, we have a room for advocacy work. This is the start. I think what is happening to Ria is happening all over. Where a woman tries to stand up or rise, there will be such systems that block a woman. I'm saying to civil society, we must have a strategy when we come out from this gathering. It is not going to be a normal one. My name is Ndibuo Sikoba. I'm from South Africa NGO Coalition. I'm a mother of a #1 fan in Soweto who passed away last year, Ndabelisen Sikoba. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would just like to clarify so that everybody can be also given an opportunity to engage with the legal representative, and allow me again to put you in the spot, Mr. Tobejane. If you are seeking more clarity on some of the item points that were mentioned, please take time after this press conference so that you can seek that better clarity. I think otherwise we will be here for the entire day, and I want us to be able to avoid that situation. But I would ask you, and I would implore you as well, Mr. Tobejane, to avail yourself, because you've certainly put a span in the works, so that we can get more clarity around how is it that motions can be done. That's fine. He's just told me about his schedule, but I will personally stand next to him so that members of the media colleagues, you are able then to get just some item points, or even not, then arrange an interview with him. Is that okay? So we can clarify on some certain issues. But I would like us to start off with you, Mr. Mumble, a question that was raised from the back as well. We've got one more. What's we've got a last one, the last question. I can only take one more. Benjamin, I do arrange a time. Let's take one more. It's not for him. Okay, no. Arrange a time. That the Mambo, also you are the man in the hot seat, so we'll also arrange for time as well for that one-on-one and for clarity. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I have a quick one. I just want to find out, is the Sports Ministry aware of what's happening at SAFA? And if they're not, how do you get them involved? Mpumi Manyis.
Thank you very much. Let's start off with the questions first. Let's start off with question one around the conditions of appointment, Congress details. Is it the date not too soon? Colleagues, I'm just going to ask for your attention at this point so that we can give all these questions that were posed a moment of respect. I promise you I will not keep you here too long, but let's allow every question that was posed by our colleagues to be answered and for clarity to be given as well. So let's start off with that. Mr. Mabul, I'm going to ask that Mr. Mabul will start off with, we kick off with that one.
I need to address that. Was that Belile?
Yes.
Belile's question. Yeah.
Yes.
About the issues that you raised about the amendments and all those kind of things. The point is the following. You don't go to court if you don't have a cause of action. And I don't want us to sit here and try to tell you that we are going to court, we are going to court, we are going to court. In principle, we are waiting for the right moment to take the right action. As for now, we want to preserve her candidacy. And whatever happens, we'll take it on at that time. For now, we don't know who's going to be the candidate because she has been nominated. She has accepted her nomination. The screening process is taking place somewhere else. They'll publicize the names of those who have been scrutinized and are successful candidates for election. But that will be the moment when we take action or we don't take action, depending on the outcome.
Yes.
Well, for now, we don't know what's happening. Like Mr. Mumble said, you have a match between Chiefs and Pirates, but there are no rules. Football is predictable. When you go to play a match, you know what is an offside, you know what is a penalty, you know everything. Even the rules of elections are predictable. You cannot keep on changing as you go along. So we're not here to debate that. We know what's happening. Rest assured, everything is covered. We are on par.
Mr. Mumble, let's take on the issue around Congress as well as the 14 days aspect around campaigning.
Again, this is also a response to Chapa's question. The issue there is no fairness, and another element of the lack of fairness is the fact that SAFA has 63 members that cover every single inch of this country. And if you give a candidate 14 days to go and canvass those 63 members, you'll have to do at least 4 members per day in that 14 days. It's impossible. It's impossible. And it was deliberately said so because I know from the past how they did that. So it's impossible for a candidate to go around and introduce themselves, or candidates to introduce themselves and have 14 days within which to do so. You can't have a fair election to that extent. Velile, your question about the Constitution, it's a very toxic Constitution. And you know, there's a lot to talk about, which we can address later after this or at another time. But the biggest problem in this Constitution is that the members of SAFA, those 63 members of SAFA, have no powers in the Constitution. Now somebody is going to come and tell me, hey, but you know, the members have rights in that Constitution. Yes, members have rights in the Constitution, but the powers of Congress have been completely gutted. You know, I've said the Constitution itself has a basic structure. One of those structures is the division, of powers amongst the various bodies of the organization. There's the powers of Congress, there's the powers of the NEC, there's the powers of the judicial bodies, there are the powers of the standing and ad hoc committees, there's the powers of the General Secretariat, all spelled out in the Constitution. What did they do with this Constitution? They took the powers of Congress completely out of the Constitution. It doesn't exist anymore. the powers of the highest decision-making body, supposedly, in SAFA has been taken away. It's not in the Constitution anymore. And then they say, the temerity to say, no, those powers are embedded in another article, but that article speaks to the agenda of Congress. Those are not powers. Those are items that you're allowed to discuss in an agenda that somebody else controls. And only certain items in the Constitution are included in that agenda. So you no longer have bespoke powers of the Congress. The membership of the organization has no powers sitting in the Congress anymore. And I'll leave it at that, is that they have completely gutted the SAFA Constitution. And they are talking about the Constitution being FIFA aligned. It's the one thing that I've done for the last 3 years. I've been attending the FIFA Law Annual Review. FIFA for the last 3 years has been running a course or a program that deals with FIFA jurisprudence and how FIFA promotes the football law. And what I can tell you is that they have not done anything to align the SAFA Constitution with the FIFA Constitution. It is not happening. It doesn't exist. And I can tell you point by point how it doesn't exist. But that's for another time.
The question then was, which followed on, where is FIFA then in that regard?
I don't know. I think you probably would have to. I'm going to speak to Ria's campaign. Maybe I'll go and discuss some issues with them to see where they might need some assistance. But I don't know exactly where FIFA would stand on this thing. FIFA is a very strange animal. It has 211 countries that belongs to it. And one of the principal things is that FIFA cannot interfere in the internal affairs of its members unless there are three major criteria that happens. One is the association must become dysfunctional, completely dysfunctional. Number two is that there are serious governance problems within the organization. I think this qualifies as one of them. Serious governance challenges. And the third pillar of under which FIFA will intervene is if there is government interference in football. Unfortunately, that's the reality, but not under all circumstances, under certain circumstances, because SAFA is still governed by South African law, so it can't oust the jurisdiction of South Africa, of South African law. So in that sense, yes, it's not like government must be afraid to intervene, no. There are certain instances, like for instance in elections, FIFA does not want government to interfere in its members' elections. That's why it prohibits members, or at least government officials, from being involved in electoral campaigns or oversight committees. But yeah, those are the three major criteria that FIFA has used. Even recently, I think a month or two ago, they put Namibia under administration from FIFA side because of the problems in the Namibian Football Association. So those are the three things, but I think Ria's campaign is probably best placed, the best position to answer that. I will go and speak to them.
A very quick question before you let go, I think it will be the final one, is where is the sports ministry in this regard?
I can't tell you that. I don't see it. I really don't see, any kind of engagement. I know the minister, about 2 years ago, the minister was talking about a football in Durban. SAFA objected, and since then the Ministry of Sport has been quiet about that football in Durban. But maybe it's time for that football in Durban to come back. So I can't tell you directly. I'm not in touch with anyone at the Department of Sport.
Colleagues, I'm going to ask before, as we're about to wrap up this press conference, may I kindly request that if you may, you can also go downstairs. We've got refreshments that are served. I know that we've kept you for quite a long time. We do apologize once again for the turn of events, but please make your way downstairs and get some refreshments. And of course, this is how we'll conclude this press conference. Thank you so much to all of you for your time.